What is good, NIO family? It's Rey-Jay back with another video, and this one will break down what's going on with NIO stock, what you should be watching for moving forward. I'm going to talk about where NIO may be going over the next couple of trading days, what the data is suggesting for NIO, and what's going on with the overall markets that could affect NIO as well. Before breaking things down about what's going on with NIO, SPY, Tesla, and just a couple of tickers out there, I have to mention a couple of things real quick. Firstly, I am not a financial planner, so take none of this as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please check out the Webull link, which is down below and in the description. If you sign up for Webull, the link down below, and deposit any amount of money into the account, you are guaranteed up to 12 free stocks. The offer ends very soon, so check it out before they run out. With that out of the way, let's get on with the video. NIO is down 2.32% for the day as of right now, getting a bearish cross on the PPO on the 4-hour time frame. As NIO has been selling off, we're starting to see weakening momentum, and it's getting very close to the 50 EMA right now. However, I just want to note that the market is starting to show some signs of weakness today as the market got that rejection off that some very, very important resistance before it started to slow down. And that was after the bank earnings came out. Now, the bank earnings were quite decent, right? They actually showed signs of the banks doing quite well, from like JP Morgan to Chase to Wells Fargo and etc. And these banks held up quite nicely. However, the thing is, they didn't hold up forever because you have to remember that the market is not just going to solely move based off of them. It's also because there's a Friday sell-off. The algorithms came in and took over. And also, Apple was not looking super strong today. Apple was kind of lagging a bit, and that made things a little bit harder for the whole market, at least for some time. So seeing a sell-off near the end of the day is completely normal. But now let's talk about NIO. How was NIO affected by all this data? So the earnings came out pretty decent. The market pumped in the morning, but the Michigan Consumer Sentiment Report wasn't that great. We can see consumer sentiment is higher than expected, but the inflationary expectations actually went up, and that's part of why the market saw not the best of reactions. Now, this wasn't super significant, but it's worth noting. And the consumer expectations are still quite positive, but the 5-year inflationary expectations also went up because people believe there's going to be another increase in inflation coming again. Now, could this be completely correct? Does that guarantee it's going to happen? Not necessarily, but this does affect the sentiments of investors and how consumers are spending right now. Now, to add on to this, there was some news that came out for NIO that is actually still quite good. Now, I didn't see too much big news that came out besides this right here, but William Lee Bin did talk about something that which was kind of contentious, and it has to do with the way Tesla was basically welcomed to China very quickly, but NIO has not been welcomed to the US very quickly either. There's more like regulations for it, but you have to consider the fact that those were different times when Tesla entered China compared to NIO entering the USA, and it would greatly benefit NIO if they do enter the US. I still hope that happens. I really want the best for them. But we have to be open-minded to how on earth, different countries could let politics get in the way. This is not what William Lee Bin wanted. He did not want to see that happen. But the best thing we could do is just remain calm, cool, and collected and not really let that get the best of us. Now, to add on to this, this was the good news I was about to talk about. The ET7 has won a Plus X award with only the top 5% of evaluated product nominated. That's once again pretty good news for them, is it's going to be recognized for its innovation, high quality, and design categories. So the ET7 won another award, looking very, very good, high quality, and etc. Don't forget, we saw Morgan Stanley come out and say that NIO is going to get a lot more deliveries going into this month. They're very bullish on NIO for that reason. So in a couple of weeks, we have deliveries coming out. And when they have really good products like this in the ES6 coming out, that's going to be very awesome for them as well. So things are still looking good for them from a fundamental standpoint. What is good news about NIO is the volume is not super high. We're not getting aggressive selling like we saw before when NIO was just selling off with 70 million in volume. Volume is only 35 million as of right now, and we're very close to market close, so very low volume, and so far NIO is just selling off a bit. Now the short volume did go up to about 63%. There's a little bit more shorting going on despite the higher price per ratio. Morgan Stanley is still saying NIO is going to outperform the market, which is good. And we tend to slow down a bit on Mondays, but we tend to do better on Tuesdays, just like many other EVs. And last but not least, I just want to add that the short interest did go up just a little bit for NIO. So we are seeing a little bit more shorting during times like this. So it's all important to note. Now let's talk about the share prices of these. Now for NIO, I just want to add on that on the 4-hour time frame, NIO is selling off a bit and quite dramatically. We got this nice rejection off a bearish divergence that formed on the 4-hour time frame. Now after forming this divergence and getting this like downside, pressure being added to the share price, I just want to add that we have this imbalance right here. We have this imbalance way down here around this 9.9 level. I think NIO is going to come all the way down to 9.9, and if it breaks below that, we could see it come down to about 9.5 before it tries to bounce. But you could see it quite clearly, even on the stochastic. The stochastic is suggesting it might try to bounce a little first and then come down. So it could be either or. I mean, this doesn't guarantee anything. Just like at this level, it was like super low at these levels before it continued dropping. So I'm seeing very mixed signals. I think NIO may try to like gap up on Monday, maybe try to bounce, but then continue lower. But we have this imbalance to be watching for. We could see NIO continue to drop into the nines, and this is once again going to be worth noting. So make sure you are prepared for this. All right. Now, if you look at spot at the time I'm recording this, it is selling off a little bit. We are starting to look a little weak on the 4-hour time frame. Finally, this is the first time in a very long time. It's been many days since we saw this happen, and then it is starting to sell off a bit, testing 449 as support. If that fails us, we have the next major support around 448.5. We're very close to that area. We're going to be watching, could it try to hold this area, or is it going to break down lower? Because if it loses 448.5, it's going to likely come all the way down to 447.5. I don't see that happening today, but we are showing some signs of weakness that are worth noting. All right, so just watch this carefully. I think the market is just going to kind of range trade around these lower levels and close very flat. That's what I'm kind of aiming towards. We're very close to close, but it's not really that bad. We're only down like 0.1%, not that bad after all. Apple's a little bit down as well. I mean, it's kind of flat, not really doing anything too significant. If Apple was booming to the upside, this could have helped the market hold up a lot better, but it's not really doing that. It's in this like very choppy stage where it's just going back and forth. That's because of slowing demand in China. That's what's affecting the market right now. And then for Tesla, it's currently kind of like dropping a bit, but it's holding up quite nicely, trying to hold above or very close to 280. I think it's going to try to hold up around this level for the majority of the day. The triple Q, this thing is trying to push up too. I'm sorry, it's dropping down, but it wants to bounce, and it could try to push up later. It's still very flat, only down like 0.19%, which is nothing, right? This thing managed to break above this resistance. It came very close to our target, this resistance right here, and this 382 level, before it broke right back down. And now we're seeing it at 378 as the next support zone. So we're watching the 50 as our support. It's going to likely hold around these levels until close, and this is what the market is looking like right now. With that said, I went over NIO. It is looking a little bit more bearish for the short term, but don't forget we have some big catalysts like deliveries coming out over the next couple of weeks. And also, we're going to find out what the news says about other earnings, which will affect the markets, in turn, which will affect NIO as well. All right, so I just want to keep this one short since it is the weekend. It's coming up, and I just want the best for everyone. Thank you all so much for listening. I really appreciate every single one of you guys. I'm going to release a very quick video tomorrow about Tesla because we have another big opportunity for the time being. And with that said, I just want to say I appreciate all of you. Remain calm, cool, and collected, and I'll definitely see you guys in the next one. NIO to the moon, as the long term is still incredibly bright, and peace out.